Yep, the triple free. Face Yao will be tier 0. Okay, you know what's the thing, right? I actually don't really think E6 Bubbin might be that crazy. Because if you can't deal enough damage with your action value, I don't know how much more damage amplification Bubbin can actually give you. But it will be a pretty interesting topic though. Like if we were to say that E6 Bubbin is actually free. Like if we're gonna say E4 Welt is free because it's a standard unit, but you need to exchange 4 gold spirits for E4 Welt, then I might as well just say I exchange 4 spirits for Bubbin, right? Because it's along the lines of like, how do you obtain set corrector? From the standard pool, from losing 50-50s, or from spending your gold spirit? Because right here, if I can just come in, right? You can just come in. This is E2. Alright, this is E2. You now cannot get a single copy of Bubbin. 0 copies, right? But I can in fact pop this open and I'll claim 4 on the spot right now. So even from an elitist perspective, right? Even from an elitist perspective, in the perspective of a 0 cycler, if you ask me, a 0 cycler, to commit 4 of these things, I would literally rather just get a E6 Bubbin and I slap it on and try to get a 0 cycle there. Because even till this day, we have been using Bubbins for 0 cycles. Like our QQ 0 cycle was a Bubbin, alright? So I'm pretty fucking sure that in terms of like cost, right? In terms of like usage, the bang for your buck, I would say exchanging for Bubbin probably makes more sense for a 0 cycler than getting an E4 Welt. Alright? And then eventually in the future, because the thing with this is, right, you could lose 50-50s to Welt. You can never lose 50-50s to Bubbin. So imagine if you exchange for Welt Yanks, and the game just gives you more Welt Yanks as long as you keep playing this game. Then what? For now, right? For now. Maybe in the future, bro, they add Bubbin into the standard pool. Who knows? But like, for now, like, it just makes no sense to me why I would ever exchange for a Welt when bro is free. Especially when losing 50-50s, right? So that is pretty much it. Do you think even Bubbin is hell fucking no, bro? Okay, realistically speaking, right? The only thing that is worth from the shop with Hue and Bubbin, realistically speaking, is actually probably Hue. But you might end up benching Hue if you are playing Elation, and then you pull for an Elation sustain. Then you will leave Hue into a DOT team, a Saber team, a Uni team, all that kind of stuff. But all the other units, especially if you're just going to be spending 1 single token, none of them really have too much value anymore. Like for example, Ramen literally got power crept by HMC. Nobody cares. Tobas is homeless, right? Azure took a place, right? All these other standards is like kind of whatever. Well, yeah, is probably the only one that like, maybe you want to change, but once again, it's a standard unit, so I will never. And then between Hue and Bubbin, if you exchange for an E0 Bubbin, you don't really have a place to use E0 Bubbin unless you play Face Yao. Right? E0 Bubbin for full of text, right? Hue is the only one where out of the big 4, you can run it in both Elation and DOT. But if you don't play Elation on DOT and you are perfectly fine with pulling for a Elation sustain, then you can stick with the Elation sustain plus DHPT plus Hyacinth if you have Remembrance. So you don't really need to spend your tokens on anywhere. This thing is really like, I feel like there will never be a unit in this shop that will ever be worth spending on. Which is why I've never ever spent this token. Because theoretically speaking, I could slam all in for like an E6 from me. Alright? Or like when Bubbin comes out, we will slam for an E6 Bubbin. But like, they won't really change too much to the point where, and these are really fucking rare, bro. They are really, really rare to get. So the way I see it is like, unless a specific unit will change my account so much, and it will save me from pooling. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Hue was gonna be so good for Elation to the point where I don't even need to pull for Elation sustain, okay, then I will slam all in for that Hue. But this is like saying, okay, you know what? Gallagher is a good sustain, I'm gonna skip Hyacinth. Like, that was literally what happened back in version 3. Right? By so many Hyacinth skippers, they were skipping Hyacinth because Gallagher could sustain, which he did. He did, right? Gallagher did sustain for casuals back then before Hyacinth, but it was such a temporary solution. I just cannot ever fucking imagine that Hue will be so close to the Elation sustain, right? That is why even Hue, I'm like, I'm like more on the same fence. So that are gonna be he can still sustain anomaly arbitration. Okay, so would you rather run Gallagher or Hayase? Like, would you rather? You know what I'm saying? Okay, wait, what's this? Fugue will be there eventually, and you will get E6 Fugue. I hope the next unit that comes is Sunday. I think E6 Sunday unironically cooks pretty hard. Because he gains like a shit ton of crit value, and you can run him sustainers fairly well. E6 Sunday. That will be a pretty good pickup. Sparkle is already wait, actually I just realized you can't even redeem Sparkle. Yeah, but I will go for a Sunday, right? An E6 Sunday. Because if they are gonna be going down the energy route, right? Bro, imagine Sunday gets a Nova Flare. Actually, it wouldn't. Because I don't think Nova Flare units. Okay, wait, they do. Yeah, they do. Yeah, if Sunday comes into the shop and they go for like the energy meta, you can just slap on a Sunday and then just pray to God that he gets Nova Flare and he's gonna be like, oh my god, your saber is gonna be tier 0, right? Can you recommend a list of characters to choose from the blah blah blah? They are adding 3 unit. It was what? Normal Silver Wolf Argenti as well as Yuingli, right? If I were to choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Okay. Yuingli, Silver Wolf, Scylla, Fu Xuan, Blade, Welt, maybe Bronya, but it's very, very questionable. But these things are like the main ones I will choose. Yes. Argenti, really, you're gonna pick Argenti? Bro, I'm gonna keep it about. If you lose your shit to Argenti, that shit be more useless than a fucking Himeko, bro. Like, at least Super Himeko sees a loud day, right? I am unironically never fun. Okay, to be fair to bro, right? What was bro's Idol doing? I see. Whoa! 40% attack on an E2, guys. Holy shit. A 1 turn 40% attack on a fucking E2. Holy... Bro, let me guess. This E4 changes everything. Okay, you know what? This is technically crit value, right? So you get like 2 more stacks. So you get like more crit value and more crit damage. This is actually not that bad. Right? I thought it would be like completely fucking useless, but it's not that bad. Right? What's the easy? What? Whoa! 30% enemy target defense. Okay, I'm gonna keep it a buck. This is not bad. Cause like if you combine this with like, I don't know, let's just say E1 Sunday, right? Because E1 Sunday gives you 20% dev now. You could theoretically run like 4-piece Quantum Argenti. This E6 is actually not bad. Oh my god, for E6 though. Right, one day if you lose your 50-50 to Argenti 6 times consecutively, this is pretty good. I think this is pretty good. 30% strength. Yeah, 30% strength is pretty good. The value is really, really high. Because like the more you stack on defense now, the more exponential the damage increase is gonna be. So you do gain quite a decent chunk of value, but it's on a fucking E6. A whole ass E6, bro. In comparison, alright, let's take a peek at Finance E6. Alright, I'll give you 1 second. Let me go take a piss. I'll be right back. But yep, that's pretty much it. Hopefully, I've answered a lot of y'all's questions. Also, Iru. Wait, are you done? Yo, Iru is bro done. You're at the end. I see. As it out. It's well better than Cipher. Oh, that is a pretty good question. Okay, you know what? Chat. I think he actually might be better than Cipher at E4. At E0, probably not. But at E4, I think he is very, very comparable to Cipher. My only issue with this Cipher comparison, right, is that Cipher can be pretty skill point friendly. You can just spam basic and you can run a follow-up. But well, if you do a basic plus the follow-up, you really, really want the E4 or at least E2. You really need the E2 because the E2 is what gives you the energy to cast your 2-turn outwards. Without that, it is like a lot more uncomfortable. So that is gonna be the.
You have cooled your last cool, my man.